Okay, so separation and divorce are par for the course in today's society. And I was going to continue on with a golf analogy, but I realized that most people probably don't give a crap about golf analogies. Just because I play golf, lots of people don't. Most people probably don't. The long story short is that, simply put, you're just as likely to split from your partner as you are to stay with them until death do you part. And plenty of people will do this more than once. So that's what lands us in the role of being step parents, and that's what creates this ever-growing trend of blended families. In some instances, if I can speak, my mouth is really dry, you will have no reason or desire to maintain contact with your stepchildren after separation. And potentially there's nothing wrong with this. You may not have had particularly close relationships. Maybe you didn't see them very often. Maybe they're older and they're doing their own thing. There can be a multitude of reasons, but there's nothing wrong with that if you don't want to maintain contact. But for those of you who do, you need to know your legal right to seek this. So in a perfect world, you would speak with your former partner about why you want to remain connected to their children, and they will be willing to facilitate this, or agree, at least. If the children are older and able to maintain contact with you themselves, they may not need to facilitate it, but they might not stop it. But in an otherwise than perfect world, the legal consideration is twofold. One, do you have legal standing? So do you have a genuine interest in the care, welfare, and development of those children? And two, the common one, is it in the best interest of the children to continue to have a relationship with you? So let's say you saw the child every other weekend for the last couple of years. This is your connection with the child. You didn't take them to school, you didn't help them with homework, you didn't cook them meals or celebrate big events with them. Maybe you went to a birthday once, maybe you had a Christmas together or something. Maybe you played with them when they visited, but you didn't really know if they had any major health issues or how they were tracking with their education. Maybe the other parent was the primary carer when they were with you and you were there and you were part of their care team while they were around and you supervised, but maybe you didn't play the biggest role in their life. So in this example, even if you could evidence a genuine interest in the child's welfare and development, which doesn't seem likely sort of based on that scenario, you would need to evidence why that's in the child's best interest, that you should be effectively interrupting their time with their two biological parents to spend time with you. So the odds in that case might be against you. It's hard enough for a child to be traversing between two households, let alone adding in a third, if it's not really valuable to their ongoing welfare and development. So on the other hand, maybe you saw that child every other weekend and half the holidays. So we're going to keep the time relatively similar. That might have been for 8 or 10 years. You'd been to every birthday party. You'd been to all the school events. You'd been to half the Christmases or spent half their Christmases with them. You are the parent of their two half siblings. They consider your parents to be their pseudo grandparents. They're really involved with your extended family and they're genuinely connected to you and your extended family. The chances are you could probably evidence your legal standing so that you do have an interest in their care and development. Then it comes down to whether it's in the children's best interest, and although perhaps their biological parent could facilitate the time with the half siblings, it would be whether or not it's in the best interest to spend the time with those half siblings with you. So sorry, that got a bit convoluted, but why should they be spending that time with you? And how is that in their best interest? So if they've got that really close connection to the extended family and they've got their brother and sister there with you and they're, the people they've known to be their grandparents for like a decade, which is a huge portion of a child's life, that could be really important to them. And they could want to have that ongoing time with you and your family. So if the biological or legal parents were against that, it may need to be something that is considered by a court. And it may be in the children's best interest, and you may have standing to do that. So you might not necessarily see them as much as you were seeing them before, but you would certainly have better and stronger grounds for some level of court-ordered contact where the parents, were not in agreement. So it's certainly doable. to have contact with stepchildren after separation from their legal or biological parent, but it has to be considered on a case-by-case basis. So there's no one answer, there's no simple answer, but the two things you really need to consider are, do you have standing? Do you have that genuine interest in their care, their welfare, and their development, and can you evidence that if it ended up in court? And is it going to be in their best interest? As I said, you're looking at potentially interrupting an already, I'm going to say, I don't want to say inconsistent because it may not be inconsistent, but you've got a child that's jumping between two households, and even if it's a perfectly great routine, is it going to be in their best interest to further disrupt that by adding a third person into the mix? And for some children it could be, but it may not always. Thus, case by case. Good fun. I'm sorry I can't answer that question any better, but hopefully it gives you a bit of an idea and a guide.